Greetings, algebra students. Today we are going to do a couple of examples of multiplying binomials, multiplying a binomial with a trinomial. I think most of you remember how to do this, but this is just a bit of a refresher. So here's one with fractions, because fractions are fun and make things even more exciting. So we're going to start. When we see a binomial multiplied with another binomial, we want to FOIL it, all right? Remember, FOIL stands for first terms, outer terms, inner terms, and last terms. So we're going to start with 2u times u, which will be 2u squared, right? 2u times u is 2u squared. And then our outer terms, 2u times negative 3 halves, becomes, well, I'll write it as plus 2u times negative 3 halves for the moment. Then we do our inner terms, right? 1/2 times u is 1/2 u. And our last terms would be 1/2, so I'll do plus 1/2 times the negative 3 halves. Okay, we want to start by simplifying some of these terms a little bit and actually doing the multiplication. So the 2u squared is going to come down, it stays the same. Then we have plus 2u times negative 3 halves. And those, we can write it, the 2's could cancel and you could write it as negative 3u, but because I have this 1/2 u later that I'm going to have to add, I'm going to leave it as a fraction. I'm going to write it as negative 6 halves u, and then plus 1/2 u. That's already been multiplied. And then we want to multiply these guys together, right? 1/2 times negative 3 halves is negative 3/4, right? We multiply the tops together. 1 times 3 is 3, and 2, we multiply the bottoms together, right? 2 times 2 is 4, so negative 3/4. Then we have to ask ourselves if we can do any simplifying. The only simplifying we can do is adding like terms, which are the negative 6 halves u and the 1/2 u. So we'll bring down the 2u squared. Negative 6 halves u plus 1/2 u is negative 5 halves u. And then we have a minus 3/4. And these are all, this is as far as we go. This is our answer, right? So we'll box that up. And we will move on to the next question. Here we've got a binomial multiplied by a trinomial. And so we're going to start by distributing the first term through all the things in the trinomial. So we'll have n times n squared. That leaves us with an n cubed. And then n times negative 2n would be minus 2n squared. And n times 4 would be plus 4n. Then we'll take this negative 3 and multiply it by the n squared, so we'll have negative 3n squared. Negative 3 times negative 2n would be plus 6n, and negative 3 times 4 would be minus 12. That's a lot of terms. Okay, can we combine any terms? Simplify this a little bit. I'm looking at this and I see the negative 2n squared and the negative 3n squared. So we'll combine those. There's nothing that can be combined with this n cubed, so we'll bring that down. N cubed. And then the negative 2n squared minus 3n squared, when we combine those, that's minus 5n squared, right? Then we have a plus 4n, I'll box that. And a plus 6n, I'll box that one because they are like terms, we can add them up. 4n plus 6n is 10n. And then we have a minus 12. And we have an n cubed, an n squared, an n term, and a constant, and then we are done. That is our answer. We have multiplied two binomials. All right, go wash your hands, go do your homework.